Welcome to BBPN, where we cover the Blood Bowl that no one else will. I'm your host, Cadet Tank. We're approaching elimination time again, and things are getting intense. We have full coverage of the divisions, Panda's Corner, Player of the Week, and I'm going to step up my game and cover that core division better. Now, let's see what's going on with that Panda. Probably taking over the world or something.
Panda. I got broads in Atlanta. She's the lean, the family. Credit cards in the scammers. Hitting the licks in the van.
Welcome to Panda's Corner. And here we are. Once again, lads, it's that time of week. Not much is going on. Not a lot. We do have a couple things happening, but it'll be a much shorter segment this go around. So to lead you off, there's an ongoing one-day tournament right now in our Nats League with the prize of BG Purist putting up the prize money to pay for a Legendary Edition upgrade for the Victor. So good luck to you lads out there, and we'll see who the champ's going to be. We have a small update on our Jim Johnson scandal. He has currently gone into hiding after we broke the story of his after-hours visits to VGP's house. We have the finest servants of Corn attempting to track him down right now, and once we have more information, we'll be glad to update you. Our second, and probably the most important news item that we definitely should have leaded with this. Due to Drag's Lizard loss to Rental's silly Wood Elves, Panda is now the new king of the VGP division. All bow down before your fluffy overlords. Thank you. It's nice feeling to be projected in last place and then show up in first place. VGP never believed in me. We're showing them wrong. Well, thanks for coming for the short spot this week, lads. And remember, pandas never lose. We only win less.
What? Panda in first? Is this a fictional thing? I hear shenanigans. Somebody's about to be like April Fools in July right now. Let's go check in with Big Grin in the VG division. Make sure all this is real. This gotta be some type of panda trick.
Hello Blood Bowl fans, this is Big Grin 42 to put a smile on your face with all the Blood Bowl news that's fit to report about the VGP division. Today let's look at the various teams of the VGP division and go through what their last week's results were and what we're looking at for the coming week. Let's start off with Lair of the Minotaur. This is Goat Boy's team, who is a rookie coach in Nats. He had a hard time of it this season, losing his Minotaur and Centaur so early. Forcing him to play with those Hobgoblin loners make up for the gaps in his team. He managed to break his losing streak this week with a 1-0 victory versus Storin's High Elves after a small loss to Dragonazo's Lizardmen. Coming up this week, he's got Orcageddon, which should be a really good match, especially now that he's got his positionals back in the game. And after that, he faces Resin's Chaos team on the field, which should be another close match. Let's take a look at his team here. Oh, wait, what's this? While I'm recording this, I just got a note saying that the game between Werecaster and Goat Boy is over, and Goat Boy won 1-0 with a lot of injuries. And look at all the skill points he got. He's got 3 players going up this week. He apparently got some good cash, can buy that 11th player. Look at these skills. We're actually looking at a really good Chaos Dwarf team coming out of this game. Congratulations, Goat Boy. Next, let's look at Same Old Story. This is coached by Eric's. Eric's, I have to apologize for not giving you a chance to beat Callisti in your game last week, and I'm absolutely positive that the rumors that you paid him off for that high-scoring win are complete nonsense. Folks, coming off of that 24 SPP win, 4-3 in the favor of Eric's team, Erickson, his Necros smashed into the High Elves for a 1-1 draw. He managed to hold those High Elves down. That puts Eric's at a 1-3-2 record. That's a good stepping stone to get past the R2 cutoff line, as long as he can get another win under his belt. As we just said, he's looking at coming at a resin for this game. He's got the TV advantage on them, and then taking that advantage up against Kevin Storn's a little bit harder human team. It's an uphill battle there, but he's beaten tougher opponents, as we proved last week. If you look at his team here, he has a full lineup, of course, with lots of good skills. We've got block everywhere you look. There is a couple of dodge pieces in play. Got tackle. These are going to be some really good lineup for the teams that he's facing coming up. Next, let's take a look at Finhill's Norse Broforce team. Coach Finhill has been smashing his Norse team up against some pretty tough teams this season, and his record really shows it. Norse are unforgiving. They take injuries when you least expect it. They drop the ball more often than they pick it up, but when they're on, they're really on. And you can look and see at some of the injuries we've got taken here. We've got a -1 movement Ulfa Werner. We've got a minus AV Berserker here, and Broseiden here has got an injury. I'm guessing that is a niggling injury. Yes, there we go. +1 to the subsequent injury. He's going to be a target for everybody on the field. But if you look, he's got some pretty decent skills here and can really take this on. This week, Broforce was mostly on. He was holding on his high elf opponents, held them to a tie. He smashed down Werecaster's rookie Orc team for a solid 2 victory, and he really needed that win, especially since he was previously 0-4-1. It nudged him up above the round 2 cutoff line, and normally I wouldn't be worried about this line in round 1, but we really only have 3 games left to play for round 1, and everyone in the lower half of the bracket really needs to be thinking about one thing: getting that win. Broforce is going to be looking for that win against the WCW mid-carders, and then against the current div leader, Panda's Undead. One's going to be easier than the other, but in Blood Bowl, anything can happen. All right, now let's look at VGP as the Rat Man, the Panda Man. What more can we say about this surprising turnabout for the self-professed worst player in Nats? Panda put a lot of hard work in the offseason and learned how to play his Undead well. People say he's lucky. It's not just luck, people. You should have seen him playing games. He got those Undead down. Watching these last few games, you can see that play in action. He still makes some mistakes like we all do, but his play is more deliberate, and he's greatly reduced his propensity for risky plays. You can't really say Panda's the Potato Man anymore. Games 5 and 6 were both wins for Panda, and rumor has it that his early Game 7 has him at the top of the leaderboard for now. His next game is against Finhill's Norse, which could topple the Panda from his precarious perch at the pinnacle with all those heavy-hitting humans. Or their low AV could just provide him the SPP he needs to carry his streak all the way through the upcoming second round. If you look at his team here, you can see we've got skills galore. As a matter of fact, there's only 1, 2, 3 players on his team that actually have not leveled up. Oh, 4, sorry. Big Ren 42, my namesake White, is apparently always sitting on the sidelines. But we have guard galore. We've got dodge. We've got mighty blow. We've got block here left. We've got a strength upgrade ghoul on Tasserin. Panda has the team to take it to the playoffs. I'm just calling it right now. Panda in the playoffs. All right. Next up, we've got Kevin Storm's WCW mid-carders. Kevin goes on Discord as King of the Average, and he got a bye in Game 5, which gave him a chance to recover his team a little bit and face the sneaky, slimy skinks in Game 6. He played Coach Lindsey Parnell to a tie there. That preserved his title as King of the Average and kept the mid-carders right in the middle of the pack. He's got a good chance of making round 2 if he can get his feet underneath him for at least one more win. And if you look at his team here, we've got +1 AG guy with the injury. I'm assuming that's a niggling. We've got a couple of decent skills here right in the middle. He can actually move this team on up over that cut line and keep it there as long as he can keep his plays simple and minimize his risk. Coming up, he takes on Finhill's Broforce, which should be a close game, putting the edge slightly towards Finhill's more brutal team. After that, he's got Eric's Undead. This should actually be a really good one for Kevin because he's going to get a lot of inducements versus Eric's slightly bloated undead, and he has the skills to take those on and bring that to the victory. All right, now let's look at the Chrome Fracas Fury, Resin's team. Resin has really taken it on the chin this season, which you can see from the team here. He has had lots of deaths and injuries that were just horrible for his team, but he's had some really good skill ups too. Look at those stats ups. We've got a Beastman with a plus agility, another with plus movement. Minotaur here has gotten the extra movement on it. Last week he battled Lindsay's Lizardman to a low scoring tie and then got just sucker punched by Panda's Undead. Devastated him in the injury department. This week he's looking at 250 TV down to Eric's Necro team, and the inducements could make all the difference here given the skills of his remaining players. Resin actually has a really good chance in this matchup. And then after that, he's facing off against Goat Boys, Lair the Minotaur. We should also have a pretty good chance to come out ahead. Both of those teams have taken a lot of injuries. It'll be interesting to see how they're recovering here in the later part of the round. All right, next we've got Rental's Arbor Watch Knights. His name may come from a borrowed airplane, but it really hasn't been an easy flight for the Wood Elves this week. He's been coming off a hard loss to Panda in Game 5, and the Arbor Watch Knights then slammed face first into Kevin's rebounding Same Old Stories, who are glutted from that 24 SPP victory against the Rats. A loss and a tie for Rental keeps him at the top of the midfield for the VGP division this week, but coming up he's got Dragonaza's Lizards followed by Callisti's Rats. It's never an easy bout when you're playing the top-ranked players. Rental has the chance to make it. He is playing Wood Elves. He does still have both of his War Dancers on the team. Look at the skills that he's got available. Sure, he'll be playing some loners, but Wood Elves can really get away with that. I know when I played Lizards, I never lost to a Wood Elf team, especially one this injured. But then these Wood Elves really do have the chance to make that comeback, especially when he can smash those skinks, get the ball away, and move the ball quickly. As for the Rats, I'd say it's a pretty even match generally between Wood Elves and Skaven. In this case, I'd probably give a slight edge to the Wood Elves simply because Rental is after that win. He needs that win far more than Callisti does. All right, next we've got Storn and his Aloof Loafers. Look, you either love playing High Elves or you hate them, and most seem to be heavy on the hating. Storn has really struggled to win with his High Elves this season. He has a lot of draws on his way. Normally, you expect High Elves to be a high-scoring, fast-moving, fast-playing team, and we've just not seen that with Storm's High Elves this season. He managed to hold Finhell's Norse to a draw in Game 5, but his loss to Lair the Minotaur really hurt his team's chances for this season. He just hasn't had the scoring that he needs to push him up. You normally expect High Elves to be on averaging 2 touchdowns a game, but he's just sitting about 1.2 touchdowns per game with just over 2 successful catches. He's really going to need to step up his scoring in his upcoming games versus Callisti's Rats and Lindsay's Lizardmen if he really wants to be safely over the cutoff for round 2. That said, look at the injuries we've got here. We've got a minus AV on this lineman. We've got a Ming on this guy here, but look at the skills. More movement, lots of block everywhere. Guard down here. We'll be fielding a couple of loners. That's okay with Elves, but he really is going to need to work on that scoring if he's going to move on solidly into round 2. All right, next up, Callisti's Lords of Decay, the Skaven team that everybody loves to hate. And oh, how the mighty hath fallen! Callisti's Rats, which were on a tear and sitting pretty at the top of the viz, lost their game last week to Eric's. And I called that game in favor of Callisti, and Eric took that as a personal challenge, came back to win it 4-3. But look, both of them got tons of SPP off of that game. And even though it was a loss to Lords of Decay, look at the skills on this team. Every single person in the positionals has got skills galore. It's only the linemen that are sitting back here with nothing, and that newbie thrower. And look here, we've got a lineman with -1 strength. Oh, poor lineman. I guess I know who's going to get blocked down first. But strip ball, block, sidestep, tackle, mighty blow galore. This team is on a tear. Round 2 potential for sure, maybe even getting into the playoffs. I would highly bet on Lords of Decay to make the playoffs for this. He's got back-to-back knife ears this week, looking at Storn's High Elves to start off with, which could be a high-scoring game on both sides, followed by Rental's Wood Elves. They both have a lot of mobility. It's going to be more of a challenge for that Skaven team, but look at the skills, look at his record. I think Callisti has a really good chance this coming week. And then we have Dragonazas, Lizards. This has been considered the hard Lizardman team, not just in the Div, but in the entire league. He's had a hard time this week. He was sitting pretty with a lot of wins and then just barely squeaked out a win against Lair the Minotaur in Game 5. And then Callisti's Rats beat him to a tie in a very low-scoring game. Look at the injuries here. We've got minus movement on a skink, which always hurts. We've got somebody out for the next game right here, but look at the skills. Lots of block. Block. Everywhere you see is block. Getting block on that Croxagore is always your first job for a Lizardman coach. We've got it here. And Dragonazo has already cemented his slot for round 2 going in these last couple of weeks. He just needs to keep his focus and minimize his injuries as he moves on into round 2. Next, we have the other Lizardman team for this division, Lindsey Parnell and his sneaky, slimy skinks. This rookie has been a sight to see this season because his gameplay has improved with every single game. He started off with a couple of hard losses, but he's regularly held his opponents to a draw, which is not easy to do when you're a new Lizardman coach. He is silencing everybody in the Div and in the league who thought they were going to get an easy 3-0 win on the new kid. And last week, he used his team like a tar pit. He held Necro and Human teams to a 1-1 draw. But I have to say this, Lindsay, draws don't win tournaments. You're going to have to play these next 3 games with more aggression if you're going to hope to make round 2. He's got Pandas Undead coming up. That's going to be a tough game to win for any team in this division, but especially this wounded Lizardman team. After that, he's got the non-passing, non-scoring High Elves, which should be a little bit easier for him, especially if he can fill those holes. But if you look at the team and we see it right now, those holes in the roster are going to be hard to fill and they're going to be hard to play. We've got a missing Saurus coming up. And while we do have a couple of Sauruses that have leveled, he still has 3 that haven't quite made that level 1 mark. And that hurts when you're a Lizardman team. No skills on those Saurus make a big difference. And last but certainly not least, we've got our replacement player, Werecaster, and his Orcageddon team. Werecaster is a new addition to this division, but not to Nats. He's actually an alum from the old days, talking Season 1, Season 2 here. This is back when VG Purist was just a punk kid with a dream of fame as a sportscaster. Werecaster was actually joined us to replace a missing player, and he came in like a wrecking ball in Sunday League. His debut here on Game 6, on the other hand, wasn't quite as impressive, bringing in a completely rookie Orc team against Finhill's Bro Norse, which knocked him down. 2-0 victory to the Norse, but Werecaster's still blowing the dust off. Give him a few games and there's a good chance he'll pull off a round 2 appearance. Speaking of a few games, the Orcageddon are facing off against Goat Boy's Lair the Minotaur, followed by Dragonazo's Lizards this week. Looking at the team as it sits right now, we've got a couple of key injuries. Black Orc out for the next game, got a Goblin out for the next game, but Orcs have the skills, as does the coach. And I'm predicting a win for the Orcs against the Chorfs this week, but probably a draw or even a loss against Dragonazo's skilled up Lizards. We'll see. Well, folks, that's it for news from the VGP division. Big Ren 42 here telling you to keep a smile on your face.
Man, who have thunk it? Panda at the top of the division. Wow. Good job, Big Grin. Alright. What's this? I just got past the note. Apparently, we have a winner of the Nats one-day tourney. And it is... me! Well, apparently while I've been in the studio, I have been multitasking winning tournaments. Thank you, Halfling Chef. Alright, now let's go on to Player of the Week.
Coming at you live from BBPN Radio. It's time for another Player of the Week. But before we get to that, it looks like our last week's Player of the Week, Quicksticks Nightclaw, has been dethroned by Premlata Agarwal. That's a shame. This week's highlighted player will have the most serial kills. And we're back in the VGP division with VGP is the Rat Man, coached by Angry Panda 86. And the player we're going to look at this week is Lord Cordaris. He's a mummy on this team. And he has 17 SPP. Currently, Mighty Blow, Regeneration, Guard, and Grab. This is interesting. So, Lord Cardaris has leveled up twice so far, and Angry Panda has given him Guard and Grab. Grab you don't see quite a lot, but it lets you move the player you take a block action against into any adjacent square, similar to sidestep but for the attacker, or blocker if you will. Now Lord Cardaris has 2 kills inflicted, doubling that of everyone else in the league. Currently, everyone was tied at 1, and Lord Cordaris, not but 4 days ago, surpassed the rest of the pack. And he's also had quite a lot of blocks this season, 57 for one player, knocking out 3, injuring 17 injuries. That's pretty high up there. No wonder he's got so much SPP. Here's just one of many of Lord Cardaris' nasty hits. Ouch, that's gotta hurt. And here's hit number 2. A knockout. Now folks, this is what we've all been waiting for. The kill. Here it comes. Ooh, that's gotta hurt. And that's gotta hurt even more. And just like the mummy Lord Cordaris, that's a wrap.
Of course, the number 1 player this week is going to be from Panda's crew. I mean, a mummy slaughtering people? Maybe that's why he's number 1. Everybody's scared to play that mummy. Alright, good job, Game of Goblins. Alright, let me jump into the Core Division. And let's see if I can make the core division people happier this time. Alright, welcome ladies and gents to Core Division. I'm your host Cadet Tank, filling in for your man Ace while he's away. So, as we know, we're nearing Elimination Day, so I'm going to go ahead and make predictions because our next video should be covering who made it, right? So, here we go. The top 4 I'm predicting is going to be Superfed, Lando, Cord, and Majestic. Now I feel like our bottom 4 is going to be Terracin, Nogatron, Gamma, and Ace. Whoa, why not Trunkhead? Well, Trunkhead's actually pretty well set up for his next couple games with Skaven, and he has a one-turner. So this could be enough to pull him out of the bottom. Unfortunately, Ace looks like he's going to have a hard road ahead, so I'm thinking he's going to split his games 1-1. And then the Scum is just going to barely miss it altogether because he has a tiebreaker. So, that's what we're looking at right there. Scary if you're in the bottom 4, especially if you're one of these guys. Alright. That's all I have for the core division. Next time, if you guys have any questions or there's something else you want me to point on, just let me know. If Ace isn't here to cover again, I'll do it, and I'll try to answer your questions. Alright, so let's kick over and see what's going on in the MCC division.
Welcome back everyone, Scar here, returning once again from the void to give you your update on the MCC division. When we last joined our teams, the Snotknockers were neck and neck with the Personas for first place, and now these two juggernauts are still fighting for first place. These two have just completely run away with the division. It's quite a shame that we are not going to see these two giants duke it out on the pitch, because they were scheduled to play on round 10, and the cutoff for this is actually right after round 9. It's such a sad event that these two won't actually fight. Oh well, that's not really what the drama is anyway. The top and bottom of this division is relatively safe bets at this point. But everything else is so close, it's up in the air and can be stolen. Well, alright, so just to start out, the Angry Redwood Pandas seem to have lost their third place position by the Glamcore Punks and the Star Wars Oddities. This doesn't mean that they're out of the running yet, and they still have a very good chance of getting to the second round. But Cadet Tank is really going to have to work for it now. Meanwhile, the Cheeseheads have actually further secured their position, going from 8th to 6th. But it is a very shaky lead, and even a single loss might be enough to cut them below the cutoff date. Next up, Man I'm Pretty has been just brought down in this rank, going from 7th to 10th under the Amazing Rodents, the Ugly Heads, and the Detroit Chargers. This really puts some pressure on Splinter to try to get back into the running. It'll be interesting to see if he actually makes it. Finally, the last team I would really like to mention is the Detroit Chargers, getting 9th right now and is almost in the running. It seems like the High Elf team is starting to get momentum despite the massive handicap at the beginning, so they might make it to the second round and we might see some High Elf bullshit at that point in time. Now, I would really like to go over the two runaway champion teams, but before we do that, I have some sad news. There have been absolutely no deaths in these last 2 rounds. Damn it, I spent all this time inscribing runes into the pitch of each and every team on this division And they don't even have the courtesy to give me their blood offerings. Now I gotta go out and find some goats. Yes, goats. Just so, to, like, ritually sacrifice, just so I can return to this land of light. Can't be helped, I guess, and there's still 2.5 rounds left for me to appeal to my Dark Lord. But let's get on with these teams. Let's actually take a much closer look at these two big winners here. See how they're developing more specifically, and how other teams that will see them in round 2 can start building against them. Starting with the Personas, and wow, it really looks like this team has gotten scarier since the last time we saw both mummies picking up guard, both rights with mighty blow now, and one with tackle, and even the ghouls that started off really good with blodge and wrestle now seems to know how to pick up the ball, with one ghoul sitting on a level up that can be anything Emoj wants it to be. Even one of the Zoms have picked up guard to help with that bashing. It seems like this team is really developing into a massive damage powerhouse that actually knows how to pick up the ball. A very effective and very dangerous combination. But moving on to our other champion of this division, the Snot Knockers. And despite being just as successful as the Personas, they don't seem to have developed quite as well as the last time we saw them. It seems like the thrower got really lucky with a double and picked up dodge, and a blitzer has actually been very busy punching faces and is now more effective at punching faces by getting tackle. And finally, one of the linemen gets the very important task of learning how to properly kick a poor sod that's hot in the ribs while he's down. What else could you expect from an orc? But it really seems like the black orcs are being stubborn and don't want to learn any new tricks. That being said, there are still plenty of games in the second round for him to develop this team. And orcs are a pretty good team right off out of the gate, so this isn't as big a handicap as it may seem in the first place. Well, I'm running a little low on ethereal energy, and I gotta hit some rats to catch for a proper sacrifice now. I will return at the end of this division to give you the final rundown of which team made it and which didn't. But until then, it's back to you, Cadet. It's your stupid team's not dying and making me do.
Nice job, Scar, covering the MCC division. You know what? My elves play in that division, and I'm confident they're going to be the next ones to die. So let's hope nobody else dies in that division until round 2. Alright, one last note. Our friend Descum is making a special video for us, and as soon as he finishes it, I will post it and let everybody know about it. Alright, that's all we have for BBPN. Cadet Tank out.